this computer. Okay. Alrighty. Let's get into it. So, we are talking about macros today. And of course, I know this is one of the most challenging things, nutrition for everyone. So this is just going to be a little bit of a basics, and we're going to every single week kind of like deep dive into it a little bit more. So essentially today we are mastering your macros, what they are, what's important, why they're important. So essentially, what the fuck are macros and why should I care? The little sassy vibe around it. So macros are macronutrients, which are macro means large, and nutrients, as we all know, is what we need for your body to thrive. So you need all of these in large amounts. So essentially, protein, carbs, and fats. And you'll see so many people, I guess, like cut out certain ones where like the whole keto diet, whilst yes, I'll get into that, like it can benefit some people. But for long term, you need all of these to actually thrive. And some people, I guess, like demonize carbs, some people demonize fats. But essentially, fats don't make you fat, carbs don't make you fat, protein doesn't make you fat. It's overeating that makes you fat, essentially. So these are all super duper important, and you'll notice like I have done I guess like I had a client who had fatty liver. She was 67 and she recovered from that. I worked with her and a naturopath. And it's almost like the chances of that happening are like close to none because no one's willing to actually put in the work. She did like 10 to 14 days, I think, of like literal no carbs. And that benefited her, but it's not a long-term thing. It was to, and all she ate was like fatty protein. So like lamb and brisket and like literally just like ate that like zero carbs. And she came out of it, which is amazing. And she started dropping weight like that. So yes, in some circumstances it's important, but for majority of people to actually cut something out, you're entering into restrictive territory. And therefore that comes with potential binge eating or bad relationships with food. So we want to be able to learn how we can integrate them all together in like a very, very healthy way. So essentially, what does each of them do? So protein, as we know, it's muscle repair, helps with fullness and your metabolism as well. So I guess like there is literally nothing in your body that doesn't become benefited from protein. And what I mean by that is like literally anything, like your skin, your hair, your nails, your energy, your muscles, your intestines, your gut health, like literally everything in your entire body needs protein. And most people undereat protein significantly. And ideally, we want not that like you'll remember the numbers too crazily. I'm just going to spit some math out at you guys. But essentially, I like to give people at least 2 grams of protein per kilo of their desired body weight. So if you're, 60 kilos and that's your healthy BMI, then you're essentially having 120 grams of protein per day. Now, for someone like myself, I love eating a fuck ton of protein. So I love like I'm usually around like the 150, 160 mark. I eat protein. Like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'm eating meat. So I easily get my protein in. Most people struggle with it, and that's because you either have to prep it, you have to supplement it, or it has to be refrigerated. The very few things that you don't really need to do any of that is like tuna, which not a lot of people love, beef jerky, and things like that. But again, they're slightly processed as well. And essentially, like protein is like the hardest macronutrient to actually I guess get in because people just aren't aware of like what it has in it, or what has protein in it and what amount. So that is why we want to always base your meals off your protein. So it's like, cool, tonight I'm going to make, I'm going to have beef brisket and then I'm going to build my dish around that. Rather than going, I'm just going to have pasta tonight and make it like pesto pasta and not add any protein in it. So every time you have a meal, focus on that protein because that is going to help nourish you. But it's also going to help keep you full, stabilize your energy, and like I said, everything in your body is going to benefit from that significantly. Carbs, so important for your energy. Your brain requires carbs. If you literally sit and study all day, your body is burning up carbs. Like you need carbs to survive, to perform well in the gym. That's why a pre-workout snack, quick carbs, quick digesting carbs is so awesome, to actually give you the energy to show up and, perform in the gym. If I don't always eat before I train, but if I do something quick and easy, if it's like first thing in the morning, you're not digesting like a full meal, having like literal like rice cakes. You'll see some people have lollies. I don't really recommend that. Like, yes, I'm not gonna go into that. But but like something like rice cakes, banana, honey, that sort of thing is like such a quick, easy thing to have. Because if you think about it, first thing in the morning, a massive thing is like you haven't eaten for like, 8 hours or so, like 8 to 10 hours or so, or more for some people. And your body is maybe at like 70% energy. So if you give yourself a pre-workout snack, then you're going to bump that energy up to maybe like 90%, depending on your sleep. 100% if you're like queen of sleeping. But then you're actually going to be able to perform better in the gym. You're going to lift heavier. You're going to push further, closer to failure. So then your workout's actually more effective and you're actually going to be able to see better results. Whereas if you're like going into, if you're doing it with like nothing in your stomach, or yeah, you've got no energy in you, then you're only performing maybe at like anywhere between, well, it can be anything. Let's just say like a number for the sake of it. Let's just say like 60%. You're 100%. If you push to 100%, you're still only getting 60% out. So having that like extra carbs in your body is going to help you perform better and see better results. Obviously, in the ballpark of sticking to your calories as well. And then fats. A lot of people demonize fats because they are, so for every 1 gram of carbs and protein is 4 calories. For every 1 gram of fats is 9 calories. So it's double, which is why, salmon's a little bit higher. It's like half protein, half fats. Why nuts and oils and things like that are quite high in calories because, for every 1 gram is 9 calories. But they are so freaking important. And around 1 gram per kilo of ideal body weight. So a 60-kilo person, 60 grams of fat for that day. You can go down to like 0.6, 0.8. However, a lot of people do not get enough like omega-3s, omega-6s in their diet. So if you're not supplementing, that, I would highly recommend, if you don't eat enough, which most people don't, still recommend supplementing it. It is going to benefit you significantly with your skin, with your hormones, with your uptake of nutrients. Fats are fucking vital, especially for females, and a lot of females like to undereat it. So do not neglect your fats. So important. So macronutrients, you need all of them in large amounts. So if we look at tracking, and the reason why I love tracking is because it gives you structure, gives you guidance, and it gives you the awareness of where you're at and being honest with where you're at. I myself have tracked for like 6 to 8 years, I reckon, on and off. I'm not currently tracking, but even still to this day, if I track something, if I track my day, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm quite surprised. So like I'm never gonna know exactly what's in specific things or when I'm weighing things. So guesstimating it, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm eating healthy but not losing weight. But it's like if you're guessing, you don't actually know what your body needs and what you're actually taking in and why your body is changing the way that it is. So if you're guessing, then a lot of the time your results are going to be sporadic. So when we have like the structure and when we have the I guess like the numbers on a page, it helps us. And a lot of people demonize tracking and think it's such a bad thing, but it's literally just people having to show up with where they're at and go, oh fuck, I'm actually eating a lot more than I thought I was, or whatever it may be. And it's like a lot of people demonize it and get obsessed with it, but then there's something to look at in that mindset wise. It's like, why are you letting those numbers like let you kind of spiral out of control? It's like, okay, maybe that all in, all out mentality is something that we actually need to look at. So essentially, like tracking is amazing. It's just like having a budget. It is so important. Like But at the end of the day, like if you tracked for a while, like myself, eventually you can start to intuitively eat. I'm not actively trying to, lose weight, or I'm not actively trying to, be in a significant surplus, to actually put on muscle. So I'm happy with maintaining where I'm at, and therefore I'm not needing to track. When you have a specific goal, tracking is the fastest way to get there, the most accurate way to get there. And it gives you peace of mind to know, hey, I actually can have a little fucking chocolate tonight and it's not going to affect my progress. So allowing you to have that balance, and it proves to you, hey, I'm still progressing towards my goals as I eat fucking chocolate or donuts or like whatever the hell you love. I love them all. So why cutting out macros doesn't work. So essentially, eventually, you are going to be super low in energy because, again, your body requires these to thrive. You can lose muscle mass. Hormones, like your hormones can be absolutely sporadic. If you're if you're low in any of them, it's like balancing anything. It's like if one's not balanced, then something else is going to like take place, and then it's just like a domino effect. So making sure that you're not cutting out anything excessive, because there can be so many different things that can come from that. So then again, you're going to have cravings and binges. If you're not eating carbs, carbs definitely give you like that fullness feeling. If I'm going to eat just like, a steak and yeah, just a steak. I'm gonna stay full, like, and it's great and it's delicious. I'm probably gonna struggle because I'm not having fiber to digest that steak, and break that steak down. But also I'm probably like going to want to eat more later. So then you're having those cravings and binges, and things like that. So there's just like a flow-on effect. So like cutting out things is never going to work. Just like restricting yourself. That's why we always, encourage balance, because at the end of the day, if you're cutting anything out in your life, then there is repercussions from that as well. I hope that makes sense. So keto is one of the things that people are like, oh my God, carbs are so bad, and demonize carbs. And like I had one of my close friends' parents was like, yeah, keto works really well for me. And I'm gonna jump back on next week. And it's like, yeah, all good and well, but like if you have to like, oh, jump back on every single week, all you're doing in that first week to 2 weeks is dropping water weight and glycogen stores. So when you have, and glycogen, I mean carbohydrates in your body. So when you have Ali, correct me if I'm wrong here, but 1 gram of carbs in your body is 3 to 4 grams of water that your body holds on to. So essentially, yeah, so essentially you're having like 4 to 5 grams extra when you have glycogen. You can't see it in your body. It might give you like that fullness sort of look, but essentially, instead of looking flat and like no muscle, I don't know if you guys have ever, I had freaking Bali belly last year, and I went from looking full and juicy. Yeah, it was horrific. And then I literally have two photos. I'll have to show you guys at some point. It was literally within like 5 days later, I was obviously excreting absolutely everything. I couldn't keep anything down. So no glycogen, no water, struggled with everything. I looked flat as hell. I looked like I just lost 10 kilos and I was sick. Because my body wasn't holding on to any water or glycogen, so carbohydrates in my body. So the minute somebody starts cutting or is in a deficit, what usually happens is that first week you'll see quite a decent drop. And that is usually because you're getting rid of excess energy stores, so glycogen and water. So then the next week, the next step for your body to do is to start using body fat. It doesn't want to, which is why you're essentially really hungry in the first like couple of weeks. It's changing the energy source that it chooses over. Instead of carbohydrates, it now uses body fat. But that is why, like, cutting out carbs is just not sustainable ever. Obviously, like I said, with someone with like fatty liver, and then again, epilepsy, some diabetic conditions, autoimmune diseases, those sorts of things can really benefit from that. But that is like not you guys, so you don't need to worry about that. So cutting things out are not ideal. So yeah, if your goal is energy, strength, and food freedom, you're not here to join the clinical trial of keto. Please don't. Or carnivore. That's essentially keto at this point. Same, same. So yeah, essentially, basically, I just want you to understand like what macros are, and I want you to understand they are all so important. Please don't cut out absolutely anything because they are very, very vital. Now again, like, there are like good and bad to a degree. I wouldn't say it's good and bad. It's more so like whole foods versus processed foods and what is going to be better for your body. So, for example, yes, a croissant is majority carbs, but so is like potatoes and so is pumpkin and blueberries and things like that. And then on the other end of that, like fats is like you've got salmon, avocado, nut butters, olive oil, all things that are so freaking good for you versus then looking at deep fried KFC and like the like canola oil, vegetable oils, like all those like just like when you eat them, it feels like it's oozing out of your body because it feels like like it's disgusting. It's so gross. So that's the thing where it's like you've got to find the balance. And I guess like the same with protein, like there are going to be better quality sources for you as well. For example, a lot of people are like, oh, protein waters, protein powders, protein bar, protein yogurt, protein milk, protein fucking everything. And it's just like, stop choosing those things over real food. Real food is going to give you so many more micronutrients to nourish your body, but also like to be able to digest that, everything that's in that, your body actually absorbs so many more nutrients. You're going to feel fuller. Like you eat drinking a protein shake, I could eat a whole meal after I drink a protein shake. Versus if I were to eat like a steak and like potato fries and I guess some greens, I'm going to be so full and that is going to carry me out throughout the day. So like making sure you ideally, yes, they can support you when you're deficient, you're on the run, you're on the go, whatnot, but then you're missing out if you're only ever having those as protein sources or that's where you're getting majority of your protein from, then you're missing out on so many other micronutrients that your body requires. So really prioritizing real food, eating your food rather than drinking your food, over absolutely anything. Because that is, I guess, like the number one thing is like we want to nourish our body in every sense of the word. So I guess like convenience, there's always like a consequence to convenience, right? So it's like, if you're like pre-made meals and stuff, they have to add additives and things like that to that. So where like there's always going to be a sacrifice when you're like paying for something, if that makes sense. But that kind of like wraps up kind of what I wanted to go through today. And you guys can like jump on, ask any questions on that, or you can type it in the chat box as well. Because I want to make sure you kind of understand that. We'll continue to like dive deeper into anything, but even if it has nothing to do with like these sort of questions, I guess like macros in general, like feel free to ask. I'm gonna see where I can pull up the chat box. Oh, someone's written in the chat box. Lol, I thought I was in a deficit for the longest time. Nope. Yeah, so you guys can write in the chat box, or if you do want to jump on, just write hotspot in the chat and then I will unmute you, or you can unmute yourself as well. Oh my God, there's so many more of you than I thought. No one was showing. Hi guys. Oh, Kyra. Hello. That's so funny. Okay, I'm unmuting you. Wait. Yes, jump on.
Yes. So I know that you mentioned it before. I typically used to work out after work, so I used to have breakfast and lunch in me already. But
Mhm,
now I've been waking up before work at about 6 to go to the gym.
mhm,
So I get there at about 6:30, but I also like to intermittent fast.
mhm,
And you mentioned you'd prefer working out with something in your stomach.
mhm. I know what you're saying. You're like,
Yes.
please help us out. Yeah, okay. So in terms of that, I like to train on an empty stomach if I'm training first thing in the morning. I don't feel like I need anything. I still have like usually last night's kind of like dinner still in my body. I feel like because I'm like I know what intensity I can push at. If I wake up, feel lightheaded, or I'm like pre-period week or something like that, and I'm like I'm ravenous, I have zero energy, I will listen to my body and be like, cool, I might just have like, a banana and rice cakes or like just something quick to put in my stomach. Um, but essentially like it is going to help you have something in your body. So obviously, last night's dinner, if you did have a decent amount of carbs, then your body will help utilize that as well. But I guess it's like play it by ear. It's like not the biggest caveat if you are going like empty stomach. Like usually I'll It depends on the day. Sometimes I won't even have caffeine. I know that sounds fucking crazy, but some days I'm like, I don't like waking up and drinking caffeine first thing in the morning. It's not good for you. So essentially I'm like, I like to just drink a liter of water, and when you're training, you're thirsty. So it's like that sort of thing. However, again, it's like if you are trying to intermittent fast, it is one of those things where it's like, okay, well, I've got to try and balance this out. Where are my intermittent fasting windows? So, like, you could potentially, if you want to eat before you train and you feel like your sessions are amazing when you train, after you've eaten something, then you could always eat dinner a little bit earlier, say like, 4:30, 5 p.m., obviously depending on the person. And then you're intermittent fasting until like 6, and then you have some quick digesting carbs to actually like, before you work out. Because if it's quick, like if you're having like a proper meal, say like, sometimes my breakfast might be salmon edamame, like my salmon rice bowl sort of thing. If I eat that right then, it's not as easy quick digesting carbs as something like, like I mentioned, like lollies or rice cakes, or like a banana, something like that, where your body can literally like use it straight away, versus something that actually, and the reason why whole foods are amazing is because it keeps you fuller for longer. It takes longer to digest. Your body's actually utilizing it, absorbing it, using the nutrients. Whereas something quick digesting usually is not going to keep you full for long, which is carbs essentially. And that can come from any form, like I guess, like I mentioned, lollies, rice cakes, those sorts of things are the most common sort of ones. Um, does that make sense? I feel like I've just gone on a tangent now and I'm like, where am I? What am I actually saying? Wait, now I gotta find this chat box again. Shoot, I'm not having a good time. Guys, I'm just a girl. Where the hell is the chat box? Can you like wave at me if you want to jump on? Oh my gosh. Where is that? I'm gonna stop share. Oh wait, here we go. Okay, cool. Does anybody else have any other questions on that? Feel free to type it in the chat box as well if you want. Are we all good? Oh, Kyra, hang on. She's waving at me. All right. Asked to unmute.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, all you're going to be able to hear is the zzz, zzz, zzz of the treadmill.
It actually blocks it out. You're actually fine.
Nice,
I love
nice.
it.
I just wanted to like come on and just be super honest that maybe someone else will relate to this, but I've got this thing where like, and Bree probably would have noticed something but wouldn't have said it to me. Whereas I'm having a lot of resistance with Bree. Like I have found it really hard to like open up and talk about a lot of things and be honest because I have a lot of shame around my lifestyle that I used to have. So it's just like, and then it's like the whole girl thing. Like I'm really like closed off to women in general still, and even though I've tried so hard not to be.
Hmm.
But yeah, just yeah, wanted to kind of see if anyone would relate, I guess, with
I
the
think
whole.
I think it is scary because at the end of the day, it's like everyone has different coping mechanisms of where they're at and how their body is. And obviously, like we all want to look amazing, we all want to
Mm,
feel amazing, and we know that, having less body fat on our body does make us feel better because the habits and behaviors that have created that, got you to that point, sort of thing. And now,
mm,
like when I guess like I can relate to you in the sense of like being so closed off with girls and so like not opening up around that because it's like whatever your past and your history has come from that, it's like I had bad relationships with not bad relationships, but I got fucked over multiple times when I was young
mm,
at school. So I always had so much resistance with like females and opening up to women, and it's like that is something that, you've learned. It's a coping mechanism to not get yourself hurt again. And I
mm.
think that's why I love you being, and I know you've literally only just started chatting in the girls' chat, and we've been working quite a while. And I love that you've done that because it's like you need a new experience that is positive, that is supportive, that is so wholesome, where it's actually sisterhood empowerment, where you can actually get rid of that last experience and learn from that and go, no, women actually can be fucking beautiful and fucking amazing. You've just got to be surrounded by the right kind of people.
Yeah.
You're already, I have noticed, starting to open up. And for you jumping in the chat today, that's why I triggered her. I was like, everyone needs to know that she's like fucking doing this. And then it's you to jump on there as well. But like sharing that with other people is so, so valuable because it's like we all do struggle with like our past, our history, and that's how we've learned how to do things. And the same with tracking and not doing that. The probably the reason why you didn't want to own where you're at and the reason why you didn't want to actually track or do those things is because you didn't want to actually show yourself where you're actually at and be honest and
Yeah.
because it's so easy to be like, oh, no, I eat healthy.
I'm
No,
doing the
I,
things.
yeah, yeah. But it's like when we actually track that and when we actually write it down and track it and look at all the things, it's like, oh, I'm not actually doing as much as I thought I did. And
Yeah.
that when we have to see that in front of us and we're looking in the mirror and going, I can do better, I can show up better, then we actually have to take the next steps. And that's uncomfortable,
Mm.
right? So it's like
Yeah.
you
So
have
confronting.
yeah, it is. So essentially what you're doing when you're I guess like not showing up and you're like, yeah, but I'm doing this, 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 and this. It's like you have
Mm.
an excuse to be like, no, but I'm doing the work, I'm not getting results. It doesn't work for me. I'm just like an anomaly.
Yeah.
But that's
And
not the
like
case.
I
Mm.
can pull the wool over my own eyes, but I
Yeah.
can't pull it over yours. Like this is your job. You've seen this. You've
Yeah.
done this a million times. I'm like, okay, like you're not slick. Like I'm not slick. Like she knows.
As you try to be.
Fuck, she knows.
Exactly. But like the fact that you're coming on here and you're aware of that and you're sharing this and you're here in front of the other girls saying that, you've just gone to a next level and you are about to then go to a next level in your results because you've just owned that. You've owned where you're at and you're like, you know what? I'm putting my foot down. I'm willing to do the work. So thank you for sharing. I think that's huge.
That's
So big.
okay.
And Kelly said, I love you, Queen. It can be hard, definitely. You're ultimately letting someone into your heart, but what a good place to be. Yeah, I feel like when we're vulnerable, it's like there's two sides to it. You can be like scared shitless of like, owning where you're at and having people see you and hear you and how beautiful that actually is. Feeling like seen and heard and loved and supported through it all. Or it's like, I could get hurt from this. This
Yeah, and I
anything.
have been getting hurt by it. Like there's been some people, some girls in my life where like friends I had, they were there for me when I was when me and Josh, my now fiance, who I love so fucking much, and I'll never shut up about, when I was in a really bad place with him, and we were on like the brink of breaking up and never speaking to each other again, like the love of my life. When I had that going on, when I was 12 kilos heavier, when I hated myself, when I hated my life, when I just didn't enjoy anything, then they were there.
Mm,
And now that I've lost the weight and I like myself and I have a good relationship and I'm a really deep feeling person. So like I can take in a lot of love and I can give a lot of love back out when the conditions are right. But they were there through the bad shit. But now that I'm starting to do good, they're honestly getting really jealous.
mm.
And that's been really hard and hurtful. So yeah, like when you are improving yourself, there are people that aren't going to hang around
Mm. And
and that are
on
going
that,
to take that as a personal attack against them.
totally, because they either have to step up and come along with you, or they have to look at themselves and own where they're at and be like, fuck, I have a long way to go. But also on
Mm,
that, take note of like, the friends that you have. It's like, how many people can you share shit news with? Quite a lot. Like people are willing
mm,
to hear the gossip, the shit. But like, how many people can you share your wins with? Hey, I just made this much money. Hey, I'm starting my own business. Hey, I lost this much weight. Hey, there are very fucking few. I just got goosebumps. But like, I have
Mm.
full of people that I can tell that to. Whereas you tell people, hey, I'm struggling, they are more than happy to hear how much you're struggling because it makes them feel better with where they're at as well. So
Mm.
understanding that growth comes with losing a lot of people. And I have lost a lot of fucking people in my life, and it fucking sucks. But it's
We're
also,
not just losing the weight.
yeah, exactly.
We're
But then
losing all the shit that we don't want.
exactly. You're shedding it all. Getting rid of it. But like having a space like this is like so powerful because it's like the amount of people you can come in here and say, guys, I just did this. Guys, I shared a win. Like, and like it's so easy to be like, all these girls are achieving all these things. And it's like, I feel shit because I haven't seen all this like change.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day as well, it's also like, everyone's on their own journey. Everyone is so different. And it's like, no, like, yes, you've just shared that win, but nobody knows what you went through to get to that point or how long you've been working to get there. So, not comparing yourself with other women, but letting that inspire you rather than like letting that comparison kind of, yeah, make you want to quit because you're not there yet, if that makes sense.
And I don't, you'll probably resonate with this as well, but and a lot of other people will. When I'm the type of person, and I know you are too, Brie, when I'm doing good, I want to share that and project that and help the people around me.
Hmm.
Not everyone wants your help. Not
Yeah.
everyone can be
Yeah.
saved.
People aren't
So
ready. Yeah.
save your breath.
Yeah. Sometimes like, yeah, actions speak way louder than words for sure. For
Hmm,
sure. Yeah. I love that. Thank you for
absolutely.
sharing, Kyra.
Well, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for holding space for me.
Always. Always. Anyone else? Oh,
Thank you.
how are you all feeling? Good? I want you guys to write one word in the group chat before I love you and leave you. How you're feeling. It can be post this call, it can be this week, it can feel like anything. It can't be good, great, okay, amazing, awesome. I want a feeling, a genuine feeling. I excited, yes, empowered, fulfilled, challenged, like slay is that one. I'm feeling slay, energized. I love it. Ambitious. Yeah. She's on. Determined. Fuck yeah. Driven. I love it. Enlightened. Oh, I love these words. Gets me so hyped. Oh my God. Well, thank you guys for taking the time and jumping on the call today. We will be doing same time next week, and I'll see you guys all there. But yeah, I'll post a recording for everyone else to see as well. But thank you for joining. And yeah, we'll keep building on those brains, make them big, juicy, fat brains whilst we get big, juicy, fat booties. That's the one. Bye, my gorgeous girls. Have the most beautiful night. Mwah, mwah, mwah.